is the law of cosine. For law of cosines, you will use it to solve for side, 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 or side, angle, side. And these are just two examples of triangles that are used for law of cosine. And with these three steps, as we talked about previously, you have to use the law of sine to get to using the law of cosine.
Okay, so when you're solving for the law of cosines, usually the triangles look like this. And there's the letters are the same, but there's uppercase letters and there's lowercase letters. And the uppercase letters usually correlate to the angle, while the lowercase letters usually correlate to the length. So when you're using the equation, not to get confused, the uppercase letter equals the angle, and the lowercase letter equals the length, or the length of the sides of the triangle. And also, the letters are always opposite from each other. So if C is right here, it's to the corresponding side is C. Okay, so this is the law of cosines, and these are three different equations that you can use based on which variable you're solving for. So if you're solving for a squared, you would do b squared plus c squared minus 2bc times cosine a. And this is the same for if you're solving for b squared, and it's the same if you're solving for c squared.
Okay, so with solving a side angle side triangle, the first thing you're supposed to use the law of cosine to find the side opposite to the given angle. So with this example triangle, we have the side, angle, side, and the first step is basically saying that we will be solving for this side, which will be different from the rest, so it'll be 3. Okay, so then the next step is to use the law of sines to find the angle opposite of the shorter of the given side. And with this, the angle will always be acute no matter what, because the triangle equals 180 degrees. Okay, so for the last step to find the last angle is you're going to subtract the measure of the given angle and the angle found from step 2 by 180. So you would add the two angles and subtract it by 180 degrees to find the last angle, because 180 is the measure of all triangles.
So this is our first example, and we're solving for a side angle side triangle. So since we're solving for side A, we're going to use the equation that begins with a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cosine a. And then what you're going to do is plug in the information that you have. So next, this is going to go into, so a squared equals 7 squared plus 8 squared minus 2 times 7 times 8 times cosine 120 degrees. So this leads into a squared equals 49 plus 64 minus 112 times -1/2. So this finally leads us to a squared equals 169. And since this is a squared, you do the square root to find a. So a equals 13. So now moving on to step 2, where you use the law of sines to find the angle opposite the shorter of the two given sides. So we're looking for angle B. So now we're going to use the law of sines. So since we're looking for angle B, and we already have angle A and side A, so we're going to use that to guide us to find angle B. So since we're looking for angle B, we're going to use B over sine B equals A over sine A. So now we're going to cross multiply like how you know in the law of sines. So it's going to equal A sine B equals B sine A. Then you divide by A because you're trying to get sine B by itself, because that's what you're solving for. So that's going to lead to sine B equals B sine A over A. Okay, so sine B is going to equal 7 sine 120 degrees divided by 13. So this is going to equal 0.4663. So now we know that sine B is 0.4663. To get B by itself, we have to do the inverse of sine. So B equals the inverse of sine, 0.4663, and this equals approximately 28 degrees. So now this is the easy part. We're moving on to step 3. And since we already have 120 degrees and 28 degrees, now we're looking for angle C. And since we already know that the inside of a triangle equals 180 degrees, you're gonna plug in what you have already, which is 120 degrees plus 28 degrees plus C, because that's what you're looking for, equals 180. Then you're gonna add these two together to get 148 degrees plus C equals 180. Then you subtract 148 from 180, and C should equal 32 degrees.
Okay, so when solving a side-side-side triangle by using the law of cosine, you're going to find the angle that is opposite of the longest given side. So previously in step 1, we found the obtuse angle, so now we're going to use the law of sine to find either one of the remaining acute angles. So lastly, you're going to find the third angle by subtracting the measures by the angles from step 1 and 2 from 180.
So the first step is finding the angle opposite the longest side. So we're going to be finding angle B in this step. And the equation that we're going to use from the law of cosines is b squared equals a squared plus c squared minus 2ac times cosine b. Since we're looking for cosine b, we're gonna add 2ac cosine b to this side and subtract b squared from this side. So it's gonna end up looking like this. 2ac cosine b equals a squared plus c squared minus b squared. So next we're going to get cosine b by itself because that's what we're looking for. So we're going to divide this by 2ac and we're going to divide this by 2ac. So now we're going to plug in the numbers into this equation right here to find cosine b. So cosine b equals 8 squared plus 5 squared minus 10 squared over 2 times 8 times 5, which then leads to negative 11 over 80. So cosine b equals negative 11 over 80, and we're trying to get b by itself, so we're going to multiply by the inverse of cosine. So b is going to equal cosine, the inverse of cosine, negative 11 over 80, which approximately equals 98 degrees. So now that we have angle b and side b, step 2 is basically finding any of the remaining two acute angles. So we're gonna solve for angle A. And so we're gonna use the law of sines. So since we already have angle B and side B, we're looking for angle A and side A. So then you already know we have to cross multiply, and we came up with B sine A equals A sine B, and we're looking for sine A. So we're going to divide by b. Now we're going to plug in our numbers. So sine A equals 8 sine 98 over 10. So this is approximately going to equal 0.7922. So sine A equals 0.7922. And to get a by itself, you have to multiply by the inverse. So a is going to equal the inverse of sine, 0.7922, which is approximately going to equal 52 degrees. So step 3 is similar to what we did for the side angle side triangle. So we already have two angles, and you already know that the inside of a triangle, the sum of the angles equals 180. So a plus b plus c equals 180. So c is going to equal 180 minus B minus A. So C is pretty much going to equal 180 minus 98 minus 52, which is just going to equal 30 degrees. So angle A equals 52 degrees, angle B equals 98 degrees, and angle C equals 30 degrees. And you've solved your side triangle.